What do you do with this regime that doesn't mind being killed? Because they think the more we get killed, the more we get some kind of sympathy in the West, and there's more chance of us staying in power.
So are you left as somebody who is anti-war, wanting this war to continue until it achieves the end of the regime?
Yes, if it meant getting rid of them. The people of Iran, not me, the people of Iran saying it's a cancer, and if it's painful, we've got to go through it. We're prepared to go through it.
Hello and welcome to the Fourcast. I'm Krishnan Guru Murthy in Jerusalem. As we approach 2 weeks into this war, we wanted to talk to a prominent voice in Britain. And Omid Djalili is a British-Iranian comedian, writer and cultural commentator. He's been very outspoken throughout the protest movements in Iran and since the war broke out. Omid, welcome. How are you feeling about where things are now?
Well, look, at the end of the day, the whole reason I even did interviews in the first place, we were trying to keep this whole issue on a humanitarian issue. If you remember, we were always talking about responsibility to protect, the UN norm in 2005. When a country is exterminating its own people, the world has to stand up, and you use diplomacy first. And if that doesn't work, there's some kind of intervention to stop the machinery of repression. We saw the massacres of January. In fact, I was very traumatized because we'd heard at the time it was being reported as 3,000 people, 12,000 people. We don't even know because the internet was shut. Whatever the numbers, it's horrific. And now we see that this particular conflict, which we thought was a rescue mission, is now being politicized, is now being seen as something that is left versus right, that, you know, it's Trump is crazy, Israel is crazy. And the people who are losing out here are the people of Iran. And I will tell you this, it was profoundly moving to see, nothing to do with any politics or anything, the Iranian women's national football team arriving from the Gold Coast in Sydney. And there's 150 Iranians there trying to make an intervention to try and stop them from going home. And so 5 of them were given they were given asylum, 2 more then joined, and the rest got on the plane. It just shows you that this conflict is real. This problem with this regime, we are not lying when we're telling you they are absolutely genocidal, tyrannical, whatever word you want to use. The stuff they have done is beyond even any decent, normal person could think of. So in that sense, it's good to talk to you because it's always about bringing it back to that humanitarian level and reminding people of that. I
mean, just remind us, what is your Persian heritage? What are your links to people in Iran now?
Yeah, we've got almost nothing because the internet is still shut. I was born and raised in Britain, but my parents would go back to Iran. I've been back twice when I was younger. I'm now involved, and people, look to me. And I should tell you, Christian, when we talk right now, it's not even me giving you my opinions. My opinions don't matter at all because the internet's been shut. All we are doing is try and amplify some of the voices from inside Iran who have been cut off by the internet, and just try and say a few things about what some of the narratives they want out there.
And what contact do you and your network have? I mean, as you say, the internet is largely shut off for most people, except those voices the regime wants to allow to speak, and they tend to be supportive voices. But we understand some people are getting through on the phone. I mean, have you been able to speak to anyone?
No, I've not been able to speak to anyone. If you try, it's very sporadic. You're on for about 3 seconds, it's gone. So it's mainly through the few people can get VPN. When the Starlink satellite, the Elon Musk Starlink satellite works, we can get a little bit of connectivity. Messages are coming through, which are very, very strong. I have to tell you, I mean, I can read you one of the messages here, which I actually tweeted yesterday, which is very, very representative of what the people of Iran feel. And it's kind of shocking because I'm not pro-war at all. I did a whole documentary called We Are Many about the February 15th, 2003 anti-war demonstrations after the British and American invasion of Iraq. And so I'm very anti-war, but I'm quite surprised when you see these videos that Iranians cheering when things are getting bombed. And you think, well, how do they reconcile that? What do they think? And this is the kind of thing that people are saying, which I think people should be really aware of. Those of us inside the cage know that cutting out a cancer is going to hurt. We are willing to take that pain because it is better to die once than to be tortured every single day. If this war stops, which is very interesting, and the regime survives, we are all dead anyway, and our execution dates just get moved up. That's just a snippet of the kind of messages I'm getting all the time on Telegram messages, on my Twitter, on my Instagram. This is really important that when we think about this conflict, we're trying to remind people that when we had the Bosnia conflict in the 1990s, there was a NATO unilateral, intervention there to stop it and to bring peace to the region between the Bosniaks, the Serbs and the Croats. And that was seen as a very, very positive thing. It gave a lot of credit to all the leaders who were involved in that. Now, there is a problem people have with, so-called Western imperialism, but are we really going to see like Finland and Jamaica stand up and lead some kind of intervention to save the people of Iran? It just so happens to be two countries and a third regarding Britain who do have existential threats. When you see in the Iranian government, who are they singing death to? Is death to America, death to Israel, and Margbar Ingilis. Death, that actually means death to England, but they call England the UK, Margbar Ingilis. So we are the people that they want to kill. And also, they want to kill their own people. I mean, even now we're seeing people literally by their balconies screaming, anti-regime slogans. They're getting shot at with military-grade weapons. So these are the messages we feel are more important than, Israel is wrong and Donald Trump's a madman.
I mean, the question and what's being argued about at the moment is what the balance is of people who think either thing. I mean, the regime supporters in Iran say the people who you're quoting are a tiny minority. Yes, there are people who are upset and angry and want to get rid of the regime, but they're a small group of people. And obviously the people on your side say, no, we are the majority. And it's very, very difficult because we're not there and we're not allowed in to really get a sense of where public opinion is now. I mean, what makes you sure that you speak for the majority?
I don't speak for anyone. I'm just speaking for the people that I've seen. But, if you listen to the Islamic regime, all American Navy has been sunk. The Air Force has been shot out the sky. Tel Aviv and Haifa are a barren wasteland. That is their regime. And we've seen them lie about things. They have history with this. They have lied so much. And we're seeing it literally on television. I'm tweeting it. Go on my Twitter feed. And I'm tweeting it as a comedy thing because they say, yes, we've hit the USS Abraham Lincoln. And then the mullah goes, everyone together, Margbar America. And then other people just go, Margbar America. It fizzles before it even starts.
And AI videos of crowds.
Yeah. Also AI videos of crowds. All this stuff that we see is complete and utter, very easily, understood lies. So as far as Iranians are concerned, we don't believe anything they say. And when the people of Iran are saying we are the majority, that's what we believe.
Now, I mean, you talked about sort of a rescue mission. It is looking like anything but, because at the moment, the regime is in place. They've replaced, one Ayatollah with a Nepo baby Ayatollah. That's a very deliberate message they have sent. I mean, is your fear that the people are being abandoned for geopolitical interests and economic interests?
I don't know who's being abandoned or not, but even it was so funny that this Congress of experts who got together and they unanimously voted Mojtaba Khamenei as the new supreme leader, having known that he was very badly injured. And there are rumors that he's in hospital, he's lost a leg, and he's not even aware that he's the new supreme leader. And they're saying, good, let him stay there, because while he's a supreme leader, we can still stay alive. I mean, in one sense, if this wasn't so sad, it would be funny. But I am sad for the people of Iran, because even if the IRGC being killed, and also we don't know when they give out numbers of people being killed, to me, it doesn't matter if it's, majority IRGC. These are still human beings. They're still compatriots. They're still people who could be playing a role in a future Iran. And I think it's an absolute tragedy that people are being killed. I've always been anti-war. I can't stand war. I think it's a terrible thing. And the fog of war means we don't even know what's going on. But people are being killed. There are civilian casualties as well, and deaths. How many? We don't know. But as I just read to you now, this cancer they're trying to lance. It's not just a boil. It's like a mafia cartel. It's many, many different levels. And if the way to get rid of them is take out the first, I don't want to sound like a warmonger, but this is on the Islamic regime. Everyone's saying, oh, this is all America and Israel. But these people are they actually glorify death, that they love death. That's the thing. That it's all about martyrdom. It's all about dying. So it doesn't matter. If you're a martyr, you're getting close to God. So that whole mentality means you can kill us. You can kill the third rung of military command. After that, kill the fourth rung. We were joking about right now, the Islamic regime leadership is basically 3 Mossad agents who don't even know about each other. I mean, they shouldn't really be joking about it, but that is the situation right now. And what do you do about that? What do you do with this regime that doesn't mind being killed? Because they think the more we get killed, the more we get some kind of sympathy in the West, and there's more chance of us staying in power.
But so are you left as somebody who is anti-war and feels for all victims of war, wanting this war to continue until it achieves the end of the regime?
If someone told me during World War II about, and I don't think many people actually knew what Adolf Hitler was capable of, but if that was something I knew that would remove Hitler and the Nazis eventually, because you can't discuss things with these people. We talk about sanctions with Iran, and I've always said, giving them sanctions, you're expecting behavioral change, and they haven't changed for 47 years. It would be like being attacked by a bunch of zombies and asking them politely to consider a vegan diet. This is a group of people who will not change. But so to answer your question, yes, if it meant getting rid of them, the people of Iran, not me, the people of Iran saying it's a cancer, and if it's painful, we've got to go through it, we're prepared to go through it.
And how do you feel about, all of these messages we're getting from both the Americans and the Israelis, saying, well, it's up to the Iranian people to rise up and to get rid of their rulers, when, we know what they're facing if they do that, because we've seen tens of thousands of people killed earlier this year just in normal protest. And we've seen the lessons of history as well, when America called on the Kurds to take on Saddam Hussein and then abandoned them, and how they were, massacred as a result. I mean, so where does that leave you in terms of what you want people or think people should do in Iran?
When they talk about, what will the future Iran be, the Americans, the Israelis are very, very clear that they cannot, under any circumstance, enforce regime change. I think that's something the people of Iran have always said. Just one thing we ask: do not tell us who will lead us and how we will be governed. That'll be
because they did before. That's why there's that deep suspicion, isn't there?
Krishnan, Iranians have real agency now. We're talking about a very, very intelligent, younger population. Majority of them are under 30. They're all educated, and they seem to know what they want. Now, what I'm seeing, and what I'm saying is that they believe that the boots on the ground will not be Israeli troops or American troops. It will be the IRGC and the Artesh. The Artesh is the military, which has nothing to do with the IRGC. And when both sets of people come on the side, both groups come on the side of the people, they are the people that will basically secure the country. Now, the people seem to be calling for the former Shah's son, Reza Pahlavi, who is coming in not as a leader, but as a kind of custodian of transition. He has a whole group of people. And there is a feeling that if there is reciprocity with the Artesh, the military, and the IRGC, they will be the ones who will protect him. Now, obviously, you can't just think that's going to happen overnight. That's a process, and it's not something that will happen overnight, and it's something that has to be from the people of Iran. They have to do that themselves, or whoever. We actually believe a lot of the leaders are in prison, so they need to be released and have fair democratic, secular democracy and fair elections.
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk to you about Reza Pahlavi because, you say the people seem to be calling for him. That's not very clear to me. I mean, and he's been for a long time sort of been ridiculed by a lot of Iranians as somebody who is, nothing to do with the country and out of touch and part of a bygone monarchical dynasty that nobody wants to bring back. Why do you think he might be the answer? Is it just because he's the only name that people recognize and could rally around for now?
Yes, I think that at the end of the day, that's the only name I'm hearing. That's very, very clear. Of course, there are certain people who don't like monarchy. I've even some people who are actually working day and night to get rid of this regime. I was even speaking to someone who, even in Canada, who worked specifically to get the IRGC on the terrorist list. He's someone who's very anti-regime, but then he put out a post that said he didn't support Pahlavi because he's just not a monarchist. He's never liked monarchy, never liked British monarchy. There are some people just don't like monarchists, and I think that that's their right. People can say whatever they want, but at the moment, I don't see anyone else. And there are certain elements of Iranians who are speaking up, and we've got to be careful about who they are as well. Bear in mind, Krishnan, geopolitically, what's happening here, there's a narrative going on that if the regime goes, it causes a problem with the United Nations because a proper paid up full member of the United Nations will be no longer there because of other countries who've taken them down, other UN countries. And that's a problem. That's the first problem. The second problem is if the Islamic regime goes, it smashes the narrative of a lot of people who believe there are some evil Western imperialism. That is the thing that should be brought down. And I've always said, when you're looking at imperialism, who is more imperialist than the Islamic regime of Iran? The current supreme leader has properties in London. And during the Ukraine war, we froze those assets of Russian oligarchs. So why aren't we doing it with them as well? So if the regime goes, it is a massive change in the whole world. And we won't see change until they go. Again, this is not me. It's what the people of Iran are saying. If they go, it will also smash the narrative of a lot of people who do hold on to the fact that Israel is evil and Donald Trump is a madman.
I mean, the suspicion for a lot of people, though, with Pahlavi is, that it was the Americans and the British who installed his father, and that he becomes a sort of another Western stooge.
Yes. Well, we've had this. We've had interference all the time. There's been interference in Iranian politics for God knows how long, and as long as Iran has had oil, people have wanted that oil. So the Brits and the Americans have been very, very involved. Even when Ayatollah Khamenei came in 1979, a lot of people believed that was a kind of Islamist Marxist alliance that toppled the Shah. And one of the main things, when we talk about lies, one of the main things was the awful Cinema Rex disaster of August of 1978, where people were locked into a cinema, 300 people were burned alive. And everybody said, oh my God, how can the Shah do that? How awful. But then you realize afterwards it was Islamic extremists who were about to come into power. So these kind of media tricks we're aware of, we've seen. And, when we talk about interference, when we talk about Islamic regime interference, they brought in militias from outside. There's always interference. They brought in Iraqi and Afghan militias to kill their own people. So interference is something that we always see. But regarding being a stooge, that's something I can't really speak about. All I know is that people are saying, we trust this guy to come in as a custodian of transition and to help us govern ourselves. And I think that's the thing right now, that people of Iran feel that they've been basically hostages. They've been taken hostage by an Islamic regime that they don't agree with and certainly don't want to stay.
And so what do you think has happened to this argument? Because obviously this has been sort of fed in to the, the sort of the protest and social media division around Gaza and Israel. And it comes off the back of that. And so, what are you saying, and what kind of reaction? I presume you're being attacked as well as somebody who is effectively supporting Israel. What do you say about this debate and the way it's going?
I think it's disgraceful. There's all kinds of comments that, oh dear, what's happened to you, Omid? We thought you didn't like Trump. We thought you were calling out the terrible things happening in Israel, which I was, from day one. But people didn't listen to my tweets. From day one, I've been saying this is on the Islamic regime. They are the funders of the terrorism. And I've said that from the very, very beginning. And I've been so horrified by the way this whole humanitarian disaster in Iran and in Gaza, they are connected. And the people of Iran saying, if you want to save the people of Palestine, we've got to save the people of Iran, because there is a connection. We're now seeing so many voices, at least on my feed. It may not be on your feed. It may not be on your algorithms. I've made this point that everyone has different algorithms, but we're seeing a lot of Lebanese people saying we've had enough of Hezbollah. We've seen a lot of Palestinians saying that we've had enough of the Islamic regime interfering in our lives. Can we just get rid of them? If you get rid of them, then at least we have a chance to have peace. So that's, and then the fact that you're even amplifying those voices makes you a Zionist. And I think that is absolutely disgraceful. I've always been a humanist, and I put my oar in straight away when you're seeing people being massacred and you're thinking, how can we help them? And at the moment, the only way to help them is to, take away the machinery of repression that's been killing these people.
And what about you? I mean, you've spent your career, as pricking the bubble and the pomposity and the seriousness of all these things that you oppose. Are you able to still do that? Or is this now beyond comedy?
It's kind of beyond comedy. I'll tell you something I said in my show, that the day they killed Ayatollah Khamenei, and you don't want people to die. I don't want any. In fact, I was actually even saying, I actually have a post with my discussion with Matt Fry on this very podcast. I had a post saying, please do not kill the mullahs. Some of these people are enlightened. Some of these people could be very helpful to the future of Iran because they're intelligent and they're educated. And they're also stuck in a system where if they put their head above the parapet and say what we're doing is wrong, they will get killed. So I don't want to see anyone die. But I was making jokes, which even if I say this now, you're going to get 100 emails saying, oh my God, how can he joke about that? I said they killed Ayatollah Khamenei. I got an email today declaring me the new supreme leader of Iran. And I turned it down because I wasn't happy with their workplace security arrangements. It's not a very confidence boosting thing when you walk into an office and there's a sign on the wall saying 0 days since our last assassination. And people were laughing in the context of a comedy show. In the context of a podcast with you, you're going to get a lot of pushback because we see these people as getting what they deserve. People will celebrate. I didn't celebrate at all. I actually was quite concerned. And I thought that's not a good thing because whatever you say, him and Sistani in Iraq, they are the leaders of Shia Islam. And you don't go around just killing the leaders of Shia Islam because there's going to be some kind of blowback. So I didn't think that was a clever thing to do at all. But of course, when you're doing jokes in the context of a comedy show, I think it's fair game. And can I just say, stop shouting over, not you, Krishnan, because you're great. Stop shouting over Iranian voices. We're sick. I posted this woman, a British white woman, telling Iranian it's all lies. You've been given lies. Journalists ring me up, basically asking me to do this. You really should and everyone should put their hatred of Donald Trump and their hatred of Israel before whatever is happening to the people of Iran. And that's something, I'm sorry, we just won't do. This whole thing is not about being right or wrong. Human rights is human rights. And we cannot politicize this. At the end of the day, okay, they pull out and there's no regime change. Let's find out how many people are going to die. And we sit back and we allow this to happen. People were crying at the Sydney airport when they were filming the police and they were saying, oh my God, they're just going to let these girls die. In the end, they didn't. They went on and took off 2 more. But the feeling was that the people couldn't do anything because the authorities were not pro-human life. And we're looking at a regime that are absolutely not, they have no value for human life. So yes, I don't celebrate anyone dying. I really don't. I would never do that. But if this regime are gone and we have something else for the people of Iran, which they deserve, then yes, I will be celebrating.
Omid Djalili, thank you very much.
I love you, Krishnan. Thank you.